Hey, what is up, team? Brandon here from Go Headquarters, bringing you the full breakdown of today's workout. We've got a fun one today. We've got a 21-15-9 couplet in your near future. We have been progressing our push-up, air squat, front plank goal through the week. So let's get you guys started. But first, special shout out to my Spartan teammates. We did a Spartan race a few years back. It was super, super fun. Had a big turnout that day. That was a blast. We need to do that again, guys. All right, so let's get you guys moving. First up, 400 meters on either a run or maybe a rower. If you've got a bike, I'd take, like 3/4 of a mile on something like an air bike. So give me 400 meter run, 400 meter row to start. After that, we're gonna do 2 rounds of 20 of everything I'm about to go through. We're gonna do band pull-aparts, we're gonna do band high pulls, and we're gonna do band good mornings. So I want 20 reps on everything. So for your pull-apart, here's my little nugget. If you've got a full closed loop band, which is what we need for the high pulls and good mornings, I would wear this thing like a hula hoop, so that is now across my low back, so that slack isn't hitting you in the face. So otherwise, overhand grip, shoulder width apart, lock those elbows, and then separate until that thing is hitting you in the chest. So just chest height, pull aparts, 20 reps, okay? Then for the high pulls, so we're gonna stand on this thing, inside the loop ideally. We're gonna have a narrow grip on one strand of the band, and then we're just gonna drag our elbows up, but keeping the band really close to the front of our body. Now, if this is too light and you need a little more weight, you're only gonna be able to step out too wide before that doesn't help you anymore. The way to make this heavier is to create some slack between your feet. You see what I'm doing there, guys? So I've got some slack between my feet now. That has choked that up, and that's gonna make that a little bit heavier, and you can fine tune that as needed. So 20 high pulls. And then for good mornings, I like to put this thing across my back first, and it is kind of below the cap of my shoulder, right where my shoulder and my arm muscles kind of meet. Then I bend over a little bit and step on this about hip width apart, choke my hands up nice and high by my armpits, and then I'm gonna execute my good morning, which is a perfect hip hinge. So my lumbar curve is still visible, my knees are just unlocked, I'm feeling that big pull on my hamstrings, and then I squeeze my hamstrings and butt to stand up against that band resistance. So 2 rounds of 20 of those 3 band moves. And then we move on. So for strength today, we're gonna do 5 rounds. Again, this is for strength, for quality, not for time. We're gonna do somewhere between 8 and 15 deadlifts. So I'm giving such a big range because I don't know what equipment you have particularly at home. So I'm gonna demo this with a pair of dumbbells, but if you've got something loftier than I can work with here, feel free to go heavier for less repetition, okay? So I've got my dumbbells here. I'm sorry, I didn't finish my train of thought there. We're gonna do 5 rounds. We're gonna do 8 to 15 deadlifts. We're gonna do 8 vertical jumps, so just explosive energy off the ground, and then we're gonna do 12 bicep curls. So 5 rounds, 8, 8, and 12. So for the deadlift, what I might do, keep in mind, guys, a barbell with plates on it is gonna give me about 9 inches off the ground. So with the dumbbell, I don't need to touch both heads to the floor because that would actually be lower than a standard deadlift. So I'm gonna be tapping just the front end, like the front head of the dumbbell. So my feet are about hip width, my back is straight, I'm standing up nice and tall. I'm going to hinge over at the hip, just like we did on the good morning. When the weights get to about my knees, that's gonna be my cue to bend the knee the rest of the way until I can tap the ground, and then I'm gonna drive back up. Okay, so it'll look something like this. So there should be a delay to the knee bend. So notice they haven't bent yet. I'm all the way bent over here before my knees start to bend. And then in that bottom position, my hips are above my knee. My shoulders are above my hip. I've got my feet flat. The weights are close to me. They aren't out here in front of me. They should be very close to me, okay? And my lumbar curve, this here, is still visible, right? So all those little checkpoints. Okay, what we don't want to do, especially with dumbbells or a kettlebell, is just start turning into a squatter, which would look like this. See how there's no knee delay? Like almost the first thing visible is my knees start to bend. Now you're just squatting, not deadlifting. So that's something to key in on. So somewhere between 8 and 15 deadlifts. Again, if I was using that particular weight, guys, I would go all the way to 15 deadlifts because that's appropriate for that load. Okay, so 8 vertical jumps. What we're gonna do is we're gonna stand hip to shoulder width apart. We're gonna come down, swinging our arms back, and then we're gonna swing our arms up as we explode upward into a high jump. and then we're gonna cushion that landing and reset. So I'm not looking for 8 continuous jumps where you're just bounding like this. I want one explosive jump at a time, like you're trying to dunk a basketball. Okay. So 8 of those, and then we've got 12 bicep curls. So these are a little heavy for me here, so I'm gonna do the best I can, but if you can, go palms forward and curl at the same time, leaving that upper arm still nice and controlled, trying to avoid body English and all sorts of crazy stuff. So 5 rounds for strength, so take breaks as needed. 8 to 15 deadlifts, 8 vertical jumps or vertical leaps, and 12 bicep curls. So that should be a pretty good start. And then we're gonna move on to our metcon. So this one is gonna be fun. So we've got 2 moves coming at you in a 21-15-9 format. We need a single dumbbell for this routine. Now, for those of you that have a barbell at home and you want to cycle that barbell for the squat cleans, by all means, have at it. But I'm gonna demo this with just a single dumbbell. So about a week ago, we did a variation of this. So make sure you understand the differences between what we did last time and what we're doing today. So 21-15-9, we're gonna do alternating arm squat cleans with a single dumbbell and squat thrusts over the dumbbell. So let's go over your squat clean. So in this instance, the weight needs to start on the floor. What I mentioned earlier about the deadlift is still going to hold true for the squat clean standard, that when it needs to start on the floor, it's okay if you just touch one head to the ground. You don't need to touch both heads to the ground for the dumbbell. So just touching one head of the dumbbell for this is gonna be okay. But at first, of course, the dumbbell's just sitting on the ground. So I'm basically gonna straddle the dumbbell. So with one hand, I'm going to deadlift this and pop it to my shoulder as I drop under it for a full squat. And then I'll be trading arms. But now I've got to go back to the floor. So I need to tap, pop and drop, full squat, stand, trade arms. So I like to trade arms on the way down. So after I've stood it up, you've got to stand all the way up while this is still in position, and I start to uncurl this down. I'll trade hands about here and just tap, pop my legs, and drop under it. So I'm below parallel in my squat, stand up all the way. Okay, so that is a full squat clean. Last week we did a hang squat clean, which is a little different. So that is your alternating arm squat clean with a single dumbbell. Then we're gonna do squat thrusts with a lateral jump over the dumbbell. So I'm gonna go hands down, jump back, jump forward, hop over. Jump back, jump forward, hop over. So notice I'm not taking my chest and hands to the floor because it's a squat thrust, not a full burpee. Now the standard here is gonna be a 2-footed hop over the weight as opposed to this sort of a thing. That might as well just be a step over, right? So if you're modifying due to an injury, cool. If you're not injured or on jump restriction, give me that 2-foot takeoff, 2-foot landing. So the format, you're gonna do 21 squat cleans, alternating arms. Then you're gonna do 21 squat thrusts, 15 squat cleans, 15 squat thrusts, 9 squat cleans, 9 squat thrusts, then you can stop the clock. So again, that routine is for time, so try to keep moving. You're gonna feel a lot of quad burn, and you might even, this might be one that gets into the arches of your feet, so don't be surprised when you feel that. Then you're gonna need to recover. And then our cash out, I'm assuming you guys are kind of doing these at the end, but you don't have to, is gonna be our daily challenge numbers for the push-ups, air squats, and front plank. So again, we are aiming for a total of 500 push-ups, 750 air squats, and 15 minutes of front plank time. Today's numbers, assuming you have done the last 3 days' numbers, this is day 4 of the challenge. We're gonna do 125 push-ups, 175 air squats, and 4 minutes of front plank time. So once again, the goal on these numbers is to do as many reps in one shot unbroken as possible. So when you're doing the 125 push-ups, go as many as you possibly can. Let's say you make it to 30, great, that's your first break. Then you're gonna need to just chip away at it until you get to 125 push-ups. And then you start the air squats, 175 of those, and then you start a timer for a 4-minute front plank. Now, Hopefully, we are still getting huge chunks of time done in one unbroken sequence on that front plank time. Maybe we're gonna make all 4 minutes today. That would be badass. But if not, no big deal. Just keep track of the timer and accumulate the 4 minutes. But hopefully at least your first interval out on the front plank is a pretty big one, all right? So, and if you are just hearing this speech today because it's your first video watch of this week, don't start on today's numbers. You need to go back and start on day 1 or day 2 or pick up where you left off. So I want you to progress in order. Maybe you're taking you're on a day, off a day, on a day, off a day. Cool. Keep progressing. Day 1, take a day's rest, then do day 2, take a day's rest, and so on until you get through the 5-day challenge. Maybe it takes you 10 days to do the 5-day challenge. Awesome. At least you're doing it. So I hope you enjoyed today's workout, guys. Today was a tough one between the vertical jumps, I thought, and then those squat cleans are super, super tough. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it like I did. Stay safe, stay strong. We'll see you next time.